Welcome, and thank you for attending this evening's meeting of the Westerville City Schools Board of Education. There will be 2 times tonight where you can address the board. The first time needs to be relative to action items on our agenda, and the second time does not. There are sign-up sheets in the back, and you will have 5 minutes. And with that, Mr. Griffith, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Byrd?
Here.
Dr. French?
Here.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Here.
Mr. Villardo?
Here.
Mrs. Davidson?
Here. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a packed house tonight because we have some recognitions. And Mr. Villardo is going to get us started with those.
Thank you, President Davidson. I am very excited to do this. I'm going to come up to the podium in just a second. We're going to be introducing some people, so if you will give me just a moment to get up there. We do have some special presentations tonight, and there is nothing more special than recognizing our centenarian. Frida, would you please come forward? We are going to recognize Frida as a centenarian born and raised in Westerville. And if it's okay, I'm going to read the proclamation, and then the rest of the board is going to come forward. I will give you this proclamation, and I know that you would like to share a few words. Let me read this first. This is Frida Bennett. With the resolution, we are commemorating her 100th birthday. Whereas on May 30, 1915, Frida Bennett was born to L.H. Conklin and Myrtle Clymer in Westerville, Ohio, number 5 of 6 children. Whereas she attended elementary school in a 1-room schoolhouse on Moss Road, now Schoolhouse Lane. And in 6th grade, she attended Vine Street School, now Emerson. She finished school at Westerville High, Hanby, graduating in 1933, and attended 1 year of college in Marion, Indiana. And whereas on July 4, 1939, she married William E. Bennett. He, too, was a graduate of Westerville High School, and they were married 52 years until William was called home to the Lord in 1992. And whereas they had 3 children, all of whom graduated from Westerville schools, and whereas she is blessed with 4 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren, all having attended or are currently attending Westerville City Schools, with the exception of 1 great-grandchild. And whereas Frida worked briefly for Kilgore Manufacturing before being employed at Barlow Hall at Otterbein College, now university, which allowed her sons to go to college tuition-free.
Right.
And, which is really good. And whereas she is active in her church and even attends Bible study and women's circle and loves to play piano, she has many hobbies, but her favorite hobby is words. She loves different words and the English language and has always aspired to be like her father, who was a well-spoken man. And whereas Frida celebrated her 100th birthday on May 30, 2015, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Education is inspired by her long life and offers her sincere best wishes for continued good health.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happiness and an overflowing abundance of love and joy. June 8, 2015. And before Frida speaks, I get to give her a hug on behalf of the board.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome. Welcome to share.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity tonight. As you know, now I was 100 years old on May 30th, and I have lived in Westerville all my life. I was the fifth of 6 children born on the family farm on Africa Road. I walked to the one-room schoolhouse on Moss Road, which was called still Schoolhouse Lane. My teacher was Mary Bell Poole Snyder. She taught grades 1 through 8, and I was always amazed at how she handled the classroom. And I can still remember the troublemaking boys who sat in the back row. Changes have happened in the school district because I attended the Vine Street School in the 6th grade. My older sister Laura had graduated high school from the Vine Street School. Grades 7 through 12 were spent at Westerville High School at State and Park Street, now called Hamby School. I was so impressed to have art and music, and I really liked to change classes. I always felt smart, and I got good grades, and I was a member of the Franklin County Honor Society. I married a man who graduated from Westerville schools. We had 3 children, Phyllis, Ben, and Fred, and they all graduated from Westerville schools. I have 7 great-grandchildren. One lives in Florida, but the other 6 have either graduated from Westerville schools or are still in Westerville schools. This is a great family legacy. Thank you.
Frida, thank you so much for being here. That's just really, you touched all of us with your words and the power of your life. And thank you for your family for being here as well. Our second recognition is concerning the Kenneth E. Baring National History Day finalist and Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year nominee. And presenting tonight will be Genoa Middle School teacher Kaylee Nestor Baker. Kaylee, would you please come forward?
Thank you and good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Kellogg and Treasurer Griffith. It is my pleasure to talk to you about National History Day, as well as 2 wonderful people. National History Day began in 1974. It is an annual competition that is designed to spark interest in historical inquiry in today's students. Each year, National History Day selects a theme such as Reform, Revolution, Reaction, or Triumph and Tragedy, and students then choose a topic that revolves around that theme. Then they research and they create a project in one of 5 categories, being performances, exhibit boards, documentaries, papers, or websites. So district competitions are held in late winter or early spring, and the winners from each of those district competitions go on to compete in their state level each spring. Then the winners from each of those categories in each state go on to compete at the national level in June at the University of Maryland. So over 600,000 students participate in National History Day each year. It's the U.S., U.S. territories, and international schools. Only 3,000 of those students are invited to compete at the national level each year. So if my math is right, that's about 0.5% of all students that participate. So each year, Westerville has a strong presence in the state of Ohio's competition, particularly at the middle school level. And at Genoa, Deanna McDaniel, Genoa's media specialist, is a mainstay in our National History Day endeavors. She encourages participation from Genoa's teachers and students. She creates lessons with the teachers. She gets the students registered for competition. She also participates as a judge at the National History Day competitions each year. Her passion for National History Day earned her the Patricia Baring Teacher of Merit Award for Ohio this year, which puts her into the competition at the national level for the Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Award for 2015. So she will find out if she wins that national award next week in Maryland. We at Genoa are always excited to be able to work with such a driven, passionate individual. Deanna McDaniel.
I have to grab my chance to say a couple words. First of all, if you have never attended a History Day competition, please do that. You will be very inspired by all the students. But one of the reasons History Day is so easy at Genoa is because I have wonderful classroom teachers who know that collaborating with their librarian will not only make everything better but more fun, and a teacher or a principal who believes in collaboration. So they all collaborated to give me this honor this year, which was very nice.
So this year, I am delighted to say that one of our 7th graders from Genoa competed successfully in the NHD district and state competitions and has earned her way into the national competition to be held next week in Maryland. This year's theme was leadership and legacy, and Emma Rennie chose to focus her research on investigative journalist Gary Webb and his work revolving around drug trafficking in Los Angeles. Her paper demonstrated impressive research and analysis skills and earned her the top place in the paper category at the state competition. I am excited for Emma, and I'm so very pleased to be able to introduce her this evening. I wish her luck next week. Emma Rennie.
Thank you, Emma. There is one person that needs to be congratulated in all this before she sits down, the person who really worked awfully hard in this, and I know that Emmy and I know all would. Kaylee, why don't you come forward and allow yourself to be congratulated as well? This really is exciting stuff. Thank you so much for the work that you've done. And Emma, I know you're going to do great stuff. I've known Emma for a number of years now, and she's always impressed me. And I know that you will do well. I can't believe the topic you took on. I'd like to get a copy of that document. We have one more final recognition tonight. At this time, I would like to ask. We're gonna recognize the Westerville Central baseball team, the state runners-up. At this time, I'd like to ask Andy athletic director, to come forward, please. I'm going to read the resolution and then allow you to bring team and so on forth. Mr. Spinner, how are you? Come over here, so I'm reading the resolution to somebody. Come here. Resolution of commendation for Westerville Central High School. Whereas the Westerville Central High School varsity baseball team, coached by Jeff Kiefer, this year finished every workout and practice by saying "Carpe Diem," which is Latin for "seize the day." And whereas the team took that philosophy to heart, ending the regular season of play with a 20-6 record and advancing to the district tournament, where they defeated Logan, Asheville, Tays Valley, and Newark. And whereas in a Division I semifinal, a focused Westerville Central played its usual scratch and claw style at the plate, and with overpowering pitching, they took down Pickerington North 4-1 on May 28 at Dublin Coughlin High School. And whereas on May 29, Westerville Central was the team to be feared, as it collected 11 hits, including 5 for extra bases, in defeating Olentangy Liberty 9-6 to earn a ticket into the state tournament. And whereas on June 4, Central's Boys of Summer displayed confidence and aggressiveness from the first pitch, romped Cleveland St. Ignatius 10-5 in the state semifinal, played at Huntington Park before an enthusiastic crowd of more than 1,000 Warhawk fans. And whereas, despite a heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati Moeller in the state finals on June 7, the team's remarkable and inspirational run will never be forgotten. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Westerville City Schools Board of Education and Superintendent commend the 2014-15 Westerville Central baseball team, along with Coach Kiefer, his assistants, for an exhilarating and historic season of play, and thank them for representing our district and community with pride and distinction. And just one personal word, just a few moments I stood over in front of the team and I said, I know we wish it was one more game, and we all understand that. But you represented your school and your school district with a great deal of class, a great deal of confidence, and we could not be more proud of the young men that you are and the coaching staff that you have. At this time, Andy I will share a few words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. President Davidson, Dr. Kellogg, members of the Board of Education, I'm proud and thankful to be here tonight to present to you our baseball team. And Mr. Velardo hit on a lot of the details of the success of the season on the field. But one of the things that a lot of people don't see, and it isn't referenced there in the commendation, is that all the hard work and the commitment and the unity and the special relationships that the players have with each other, with their coaches, with their parents, and the fact that they were able to share that with our school and our community is what makes them even more special than what they did on the field. So tremendous effort by Coach Kiefer and his staff and the kids and the parents. And it was an unbelievable group of people that came together and accomplished great things this year. So congratulations to them. Thank you. And I'll call up the kids' names and come up and get your award. Do you want them to stay up here, or I'm not sure if there's room? Go through the line and return. And I think almost everybody's here tonight. A couple of them couldn't quite make it. And when you're done, guys, we'll go out into the Commons area out here and get a picture of everybody. Kelly Atkinson. Yeah, Kelly wasn't able to make it tonight. Connor Berry. Nick Buchanan. Jeremiah Clark. Bryce Cromer. Zach Dahman. Brandon Denowitz. Wes Engberg. Austin Evans. Matt Franks. Davis Callio. Naoki Kamamura. Kyle Kiefer. Austin Kondratic. Daniel Cruiser. Gavin Lyon. Andy Opliger. Mitchell Saunders. Austin Sherry. Nick Stone. Andrew Wallace. Noah West. And Alec Urick. Coach Steve Fingerlow. Coach Anthony Forrest. Coach Eric Nickel. and head coach Jeff Kiefer. $200. Yes. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us to be here tonight.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Okay, Cameron. I was like, what's up, point break?
Just a little sip. It is.
That was her son.
Yes.
Two of her kids. And,
Yeah. They go to my church. Yeah.
You're right.
Does anyone else want to move up? We're not sure you can see that far back. Come on, come on. All right, guess not. Okay. 4.01, discussion and approval of minutes of the Board of Education meeting held on Monday, May 18th, 2015. Do we have any questions, concerns? We will consider them approved, Mr. Griffith. Next, 5.01, Point View update, and Mr. LaRose is going to join us and talk to us about this.
Thank you, members of the board. This evening, we are presenting a status update of our journey to date for the Point Views building renovation and new addition. And this also includes a look at the building design. We presented our recommendation to renovate and expand Point View back in January when the board gave us the nod to move forward. And we immediately started working on the preliminary design that was presented and approved by the Westerville Planning Commission on March 25th. During the month of April and going into May, we met with students, staff, the PTA, and Point View neighbors to solicit their input on building needs and our schematic design. And on May 13th, we completed the construction bid documents and advertised in the dispatch for bids the same day. This is a photo of one of our student focus groups that Mrs. Burcham set up for us. This is a group of second and third graders. And in general, the feedback from students was similar to the feedback we received from administrators. Students support the addition of classroom walls, enlarging the Art and Media Center. They would like to see an updated cafe with an entertainment room for kids, and added that teachers should also have a room to relax in. And there is also a strong desire to see outdoors, and as one student put it, by adding 1,000 windows.
yeah, that is a problem there.
In addition, students would like to see more happy colors used, like in a rainbow or neon, more comfortable furniture, their own Chromebooks. They do not like sharing. Emma said, "This may sound crazy, but how about a glass roof?" And Zoe requested a petting zoo. And when we told her that this might be a challenge, she quickly added that it could be a stuffed animal petting zoo.
That's doable. We ought to be able to do
And of course, they would like less homework. Another area where students provided a lot of feedback were the restrooms, and they especially do not like that students can look over the partitions. And when we were discussing the cafe, I was baiting them when I asked the question, would you rather have more fresh, juicy fruit to eat or cake? What do you think the response was?
Juicy fruit.
Keith smiled and responded,
Fruitcake.
fruitcake. These students were smart, witty, creative, and having the opportunity to meet them was not only enlightening, but an absolute joy. When we launch a new design project, we start by identifying the program requirements as identified by our customers. And then we start researching and spending time experiencing the existing environment, looking for design inspiration. For example, our inspiration for the Early Learning Center was Pretend City, a children's museum in California that inspired Westerville. Coffee houses like Starbucks became our inspiration for the Academic Enrichment Center, and student unions on college campuses for the new multimedia center that is currently under construction at Walnut Springs. These are some of the photos taken as I walked around Point View in search of what might inspire the new design. And as I was taking pictures from the roof, the sun started peeking through the clouds just over the water tower. And this photo is what has provided us our design inspiration. So does this picture remind you of anything?
Yeah, lighthouse.
My daughter said flashlight.
Lighthouse. Yeah.
There you go. The lighthouse became our design inspiration. Just as a lighthouse shines its light to navigate ships safely through the journey at sea, our vision is to create an environment that will help guide students along their educational journey. Even the name Point View seems to fit. View of a point of light in this case. This is an aerial view of the property bound by Point View Drive to the west, or at the bottom of this view, Huber Village Park to the east, and single-family homes to the north and south. This is the site plan showing the new addition. The design is symbolic of a ship that has found its way back home. The addition adds just over 14,000 square feet, or 39% to the current square footage of 37,000. You can also see the site is made up of two properties, and one of the requirements in obtaining Planning Commission's approval is that the two properties be consolidated to one. The paved play area in the upper left side of the existing building is being demoed to accommodate the new addition, so that this summer we will be setting up a temporary asphalt play area, including basketball courts, using the staff parking lot shown on the left side of the bus loop. The new addition comes out to about where the dome play structure is shown, and you can see the active drainage ditch that we will need, that's going to need to get relocated. And this is a view from the roof looking north, where the new addition will sit. The yellow boxes show where soil samples were taken to determine the type of foundation for the new structure. And unfortunately, the soil is not suitable for the typical continuous footer and is requiring that caissons be used going down anywhere from 20 to 25 feet. And Mr. Griffith just happened to guess correctly how many caissons are constructed. And how many is that, Bart? 79. Unbelievable, the numbers guy. This is the existing floor plan that shows 21 instructional spaces. The three clusters, B and C at the top and A along the right side, each have 6 classrooms. There are 2 kindergarten rooms at the bottom right and a music room, room 121, shown in the middle. The new layout will convert the 2 kindergarten rooms to the new office, providing additional office space as requested and the current office area will be used to enlarge the cafe. The new layout has 25 instructional spaces. The renovation of the existing space will have 15 classrooms, 8 large, 2 mid-sized, and 4 small. And the addition will have 10 classrooms. It'll have 8 large, plus a music room and an art room. Shown in the upper left are new basketball courts that were presented to Planning Commission as well as the town meeting. And neighbors did raise concern with this location, so we have pulled this from this summer's scope of work, and we'll be using the staff parking area as previously shown, and the permanent location is yet to be determined at this point. This is an axonometric view showing the new addition connecting to the existing structure. The circular room to the left is the new art room. And as we walk into the building, the kindergarten rooms are on your right, and on the left is the office area. The existing lobby skylight that most people don't even notice when they walk in is constructed with translucent panels obstructing any view. So we're looking at replacing the existing panels with clear panels in support of Emma's request for a school with a glass roof. This is the current kindergarten wall off the lobby that will be replaced with glass looking into the new office area. The new wall will be highlighted using the word welcome as shown on the door and displayed in multiple languages along the windows, reflecting the district's diversity. This is a view of the existing offices between the main hallway and the cafe. And these offices are being demoed, allowing us to widen the hallway and increase the width of the cafe. Here is a rendering of the new world wall to be constructed in place of those offices that are being demoed out. It'll feature a magnetic map, allowing students to place their name by their country of origin. And we also show lighthouse-type windows providing views into the cafe. This is the current servery, and we plan to enclose the servery similar to what we did at Amherst. And as a reminder, this is what the servery, what we constructed last summer for Amherst. Once we relocate the current office, this space will be opened up into the cafe area. Behind the 2 trees are windows into the existing office. And as an alternate, we are bidding opening this wall up with a glass wall to provide more natural light into the cafe that currently has none. This is a photo that we provided to the design team as an example of what students requested for the kids' entertainment room. It shows cheerful colors, neon, a TV, and comfortable furniture. And this type of room would be constructed, again, where the current office is located and made part of the cafe. A view of the media center that administration and students would like to see enlarged. For the new media design, we reviewed the design process that we used at Walnut Springs. This is a college campus student union that provided our design inspiration for Walnut. It shows natural finishes with comfortable seating and a relaxed focal point, in this case being a fireplace. And this is a rendering of what is currently under construction at Walnut. We have named the center, Walnut Springs has been named the Center for Inspiration. And you can see the influences from the previous slide, the flooring, the furniture, and the monitors that are built into the fireplace. And this is a rendering of what is currently under this is what we're calling the exploration station for Point View. The lighthouse is built into the circulation desk as a focal point. The panther mascot will arch over one of the pathways. And along the back wall, you can see a series of monitors that will be linked together to form one image, built to look like a window wall. And our goal is to display multiple adventures. In this rendering, you see an underwater adventure. And we hope to pique the interest of a student, thus continuing their exploration by checking out a book in reference to their visual adventure. Other adventures could be a space exploration, an Arctic expedition, or an African safari. And you can travel the world and beyond without leaving the station. We are researching the possibility of installing a floor that is a map of Westerville, serving as a learning tool. As an example, this is a photo of a floor that I saw at a rice plantation when I was in South Carolina. So I know it's doable. This is a typical classroom with walls and built-in storage cabinets for students and teachers, similar to what we constructed at Twain and Frost when we enclosed those classrooms back in 2002. And where feasible, we are installing sinks in each of the classrooms. We are using natural-looking finishes and paint colors that are similar to what was used at the Learning Center. This is just one of our preschool classrooms at the ELC. Emma's glass roof will be constructed in the corridor that links the new addition to the existing building, and we plan to include signage that recognizes Emma's contribution toward the design. And we're also planning to create outdoor learning environments on each side of that corridor. The new addition will feature a corridor with a wall that weaves through the center of the addition as well as the existing structure. The wall symbolizes the movement of water, and in this rendering, the corridor is used as a small learning area just outside of the classrooms. And at the end of the hallway, you can see the doors leading into the new art room. This is the current art room, that is located in what was originally the locker shower area. It's extremely tight, and this view is actually standing outside of the doorway. For the design of the art room, we went back to studying our symbolic lighthouse, the water tower, and we focused on the top portion of a lighthouse design, the lantern, a circular wall of glass. So here's an exterior view of the new art room based on the lantern design. It is a round glass enclosure that is accented at the top with the color wheel, which is a perfect fit for an art room. This is an interior view, and at the very top you can see a portion of a skylight, and this is symbolic of a lens that is used to light a lantern. And the markings you see on the floor in orange are markings for a sundial, and it's designed to be used as a teaching tool for telling time based on where the sun from the skylight hits the floor. And we have been working with Mrs. Burcham on how we can utilize the construction process as part of the curricula. There have been some preliminary discussions with staff on how construction themes might be built into the lesson plans. We would like to provide periodic building tours as teaching moments for students. We would also like to work with contractors to make sure that students can view the construction process through portholes built at their height. And two, show how the types of math and critical thinking skills that are used in the construction process and how they're linked to what a student learns in the classroom. So looking at the construction timeline, we are opening bids this Thursday and are scheduled to share the results with the board on June 19th when we'll be requesting approval. And if approved, we will issue a contract on the 22nd, hoping to have a building permit back from the city by that time. Phase 1 construction is renovating the current art room to a teacher's lounge to be completed by August 3rd of this year. Phase 2 to be completed by August 31st of this year is the new office area, currently where the kindergarten rooms are. And phases 3 and 4, the new addition and existing building renovation by August 1st of 2016. in time for the start of school on August 10th of 2016. So it's an aggressive schedule. Questions, comments?
Jeff, I believe you have the soul of a poet.
Mm-hmm.
A pragmatic poet, but a poet nonetheless. I really appreciate the information on the entirety of the piece. I'm really excited about this. The beacon idea, the lighthouse idea, this is what Point View should be. It is, for many of our kids, the entry point into American education. And I am really excited about what's happening here. I'm excited also, though, about the 79 Caissons, because for years we talked about the difficulty of the soil there and how that could be handled and what the needs would be if and when we were ever able to change Point View. I know you've had that in your head for years now, so I'm very glad to see that we're able to deal with the soil as it is.
I just want to echo some of the things, too, that Nancy said. Boy, I tell you, I'm impressed. I especially like that new art room. Those kids are going to love that. And you've got the color at the top. I mean, that's amazing. I wish our centenarian was still here. She'd like,
Oh, she'd love it.
wow. Even I would feel great going to a school like that, you know, when we didn't have those kinds of things. But this is fabulous.
I think it's so fitting because when we originally sat down with the design team, we stressed the point that Point View will be viewed as a destination.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, just seeing that sun come through the clouds over the water tower and that symbolism of a lighthouse as a destination for ships,
Yep.
and using that symbolically as we guide
I appreciate
students through their
you're
journey.
taking the time to ask the students, too, because it's amazing what they come up with.
It was a
and
hoot.
when you walk in there,
Absolutely.
you know, it's how they can analyze it. Because it could be a depressing situation with no windows. I felt that when I went through it, I know, and the students brought that out, which is amazing. Thanks for all your work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, I would just say that really Point View was the first building, Jeff, you and I walked into, I think, when school was in session. We did so many projects last summer and had an opportunity to talk. I think really it's worth emphasizing when we talk about the board's responsibility to the community, students, parents, residents, businesses, and we think about how much work and effort, vetting, conversations, meetings, you know, all the way from, you know, our youngest students all the way through those surrounding that area. I think that's just reflective of the board's expectations on how we're going to operate within the district. I think it's reflective of the administration's capabilities and expertise and the care that they put into these projects. So I just think it's worth calling out that you itemized a number of meetings. This was a tremendous amount of work just to get to the starting line, you know, as we go into permitting process. It was planful. It was very focused on the needs of the students and the needs of the students as it represented our demographic of student population attending that school. Just very, very pleased with how the whole process has come together. So my thanks to you, to Bob, to the rest of the team that's been involved in this.
Thank you.
It's sometimes difficult when one school will say, you know, like, we're the best school, and another school will say, no, we're the best school. But I actually really like when the students and staff of a particular school say, they can say that, but we're really the best school. I really like that kind of ownership. And what I think you and your team and I think you have captured a sense of Point View and those students and staff raising their head and say, you know what, we are really an awesome place to be.
Yeah, what was cool, a couple of comments from the parents at the town meeting. One was they feel that it's going to accelerate enrollment. because of the new environment. And there was another comment about increasing property values. So nice, yeah.
Just really neat. Thank you for all the, and I know Richard is right. I know this hours and hours and hours. From what you've shown us, that was time well spent.
Thank you.
Really.
So, Jeff, this is superb, and I will tell you, Nancy and I kind of sat here. We were looking at some of the pictures of what it looks like now, and quite frankly, it was embarrassing. You know, you walk down the hallway, and there are offices with doors for adults, but it wasn't like that closed classrooms for kids. And that was one thing, the time that I've spent in there, I always notice that. It is definitely student-focused, and it's inspiring. I think the kids will definitely be inspired. You can tell that every little detail that the kids gave you, you really tried to work it in, and I think that will give them ownership, not just for now, but for years to come, which is so important. You know, just Emma's walkway. I mean, I'm going to tell my daughter Emma that's her walkway. You know, we can use this for any Emma, but it just, I mean, it chokes me up, like the possibilities that are going to happen there and the revitalization, and it's more than I dreamt could come true, and I really have been thinking about this. I know we all have. I mean, this is something we've talked about one-on-one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and I love the update, and it is a beacon. All of our schools are a beacon, but it's their time to shine. So, thank you.
Just real quick, thank you to the board for giving us the opportunity when you made some changes to capital improvement projects that gave us the opportunity to do this for the community. Thank you at the front end to the Point View staff because the pictures are great, but between here and there's a whole lot of dust and noise, and there'll be, and Jeff knows because he's done enough, and I've been in enough school construction projects. Remember the good warm feeling at this moment, because there'll be a point where we go, we found what, and it'll shift things around. So I thank you to Jeff and his staff. It has been a very aggressive timeline from January to today to the renderings, and even to get from where we are today to the close of the project in August 1 is a lot. And there'll be some dust and noise and some inconveniences, but we'll do our best to minimize that for the staff and kids there to move things forward. I know, for example, Jeff, remind me, he mentioned that the kindergarten classrooms were going to be demoed and redone this year as school offices, and nobody asked where's kindergartens going. But the staff there recognized that they could dismantle their current computer space because of the technology in classrooms. So that effort gave them the opportunity to bring that part of the project forward and still be able to house their kindergarten classroom moving forward this next year. The other piece is the new addition gives us additional space for kindergarten. We'll see how all-day kindergarten goes for us, but if there's opportunity for expansion, we'll have some space available there to house that if that's where we get to. So,
one quick question. We own the land that you mentioned you have to attach the two and make it one parcel or something, and that's just because the city is telling us we have to do it that way, and so that shouldn't be an issue, should it? Or will that take a while?
No, the problem is with the two properties and where you have the line between the two, that sets up easement restrictions when you build, so it's cleaner if we can just eliminate that line by creating one piece of property.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Good. Bart? Tell us about the Caissons or anything?
It was funny. Just a side story, Jeff goes, there is no way you're going to get this answer. There's no way. And so I'm thinking, because I knew, just briefly, I knew of a house that had caissons, and I'm trying to picture it. And so when I told him, he about hit the floor. That he didn't think there was any way I'd even know. But I had a method to my madness. And I guessed it exactly.
What's the caisson?
I'm actually going to drill a hole down in the ground to actually support 20 to 30 feet, depending when they hit good soil.
One caisson is 20 feet?
One caisson.
Wow.
Isn't it a peat bog? Don't we? It's basically peat there. So yeah,
a peat bog.
It's a peat bog,
Oh
and so we have worried about that.
They're just supports. They're basically support structures that'll hold the weight.
Sending those caissons down is exactly how you build in any kind of a boggy sort of approach. But I bet most people don't realize that there was such a big peat bog in Westerville.
It's going to be extra money.
Okay, sorry. Moving on to public comments, and we do not have any this evening. So 7.01, resolution to approve application for one-time records disposal according to the records retention schedule. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Art, do you want to talk to us about this?
Just briefly, Madam President, members of the board, this is an annual resolution that we do. We have records, some records are permanent records, some are 5-year lives, 10-year lives, different things. And so we have a records retention schedule that is on file if anybody wants to see that. But these are records that have met their deadline, that they're allowed to be destroyed, and so we basically destroy these records, but we need your approval to do so. I think, just so you know the process, we typically send this list to the Ohio Historical Society to see if they want them first. I think if we don't hear anything within 3 weeks, then we're allowed to destroy them. So this is just an annual resolution that we bring the current year's records that are allowed to be destroyed, and that's what this resolution will allow us to do.
Any questions? Okay.
Dr. French?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. Okay, personnel consent agenda, 8.01 through 8.10, and then Lori Laughlin is going to come and talk to us tonight.
Good evening, President Davidson, members of the board. Tonight's consent agenda contains 10 sections. 8.01 includes 9 classified resignations. 8.02 includes 6 teacher resignations, 1 adjusted date, and 2 supplemental contract resignations. 8.03 includes leave of absence for 7 teachers. 8.04 includes a change of assignment for 10 classified staff and 4 temporary change of assignments. 8.05 includes a change of assignment for 1 administrator and 1 teacher. Lucy Rader Brown is going to become our full-time ESL support coordinator. 8.06 includes a contractual status change for 3 teachers that were part-time this past school year and going to full-time positions next year. 8.07 includes one-time payment for 5 classified staff. 8.08 includes various one-time payments for licensed staff. 8.09 includes employment of 3 classified staff, 1 substitute, 2 summer assignments, and 2 adjustments to effective dates from previous agenda. And 8.10 includes employment of 3 administrators, all of whom have joined us this evening. I'd like to happy to introduce Jill Carfagna, who's going to be our assistant principal at Hawthorne. Let's wave. Lauren DeMars, who's going to be our principal at Alcott Elementary. And Jennifer Fry, who is going to move from our specialist position to the technology integration coordinator position to replace Stephanie Donafee. We also have employment of 13 teachers, 3 home instruction tutors, and various summer school and intervention teachers. And at this time, Mrs. Davidson, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
You know what, can we have a motion first?
We want to make sure we want to do it before we...
We've decided it looks okay, so now we'd like to, can we have a motion, please? Okay, the second?
Second.
Okay, now, do we have any questions?
Pre-read.
Yeah. Pre-read, yeah, that's good.
So does she have to repeat everything she just said?
No.
Under 8.04, there's I just I just have a general question. Let's put it this way: is there ever a time? I mean, there's one instance where we employed a subsecretary early, and then and now it's coming to the board. And is there an opportunity or ever a time that we, if we can, we hold off filling those kinds of vacancies, like a sub or something that isn't maybe as important? No, I won't say important. Some that we can hold off maybe a couple days on employment, and we do not employ them before the board approves them.
President Davidson, Dr. French, members of the board, we are doing our best to work with staff and to ask those questions on every item that is on here beyond the date of employment. or in any action taken prior to you being able to approve it. We are truly going through this line by line every month, or every meeting. So we do take that into consideration whenever
yes,
possible.
and I know you are. You've improved it 1,000%, but I'm just, I continue to ask those questions if it comes up because, if the administration doesn't keep aware of it, then, they make the mistake of saying you can start tomorrow when actually they shouldn't be. But, okay. Unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
Something has to be. And I understand that,
Yeah,
totally.
that's the only difference.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying, in some cases. Now, the 8.10, home tutors, are there effective dates on those? I didn't catch that.
President Davidson, Dr. French, members of the board, the home tutors that are on 8.10, those effective dates are back all the way to January. This was a mistake on the part of someone who, these are folks who used to be approved as homebound tutors. We inactivated them on a board agenda because they hadn't been used for a little bit of time. The person thought that they were still active. So I do apologize for that one.
Thank you. Okay, I gotcha.
Anybody else? So 8.08, the one-time payments, the summer evaluation teams, I'm sure that's for testing. Tell us a little bit about that one.
President Davidson, members of the board, these are for evaluation of children who were identified late in the school year to be evaluated for services for the next school year. We wanted to make sure to get those evaluations completed over the summer before the kids come back to school, so we know what services they need and what teachers and assistants that they would need.
And then the written curriculum for Algebra 3 course of study. I see lots of teachers down there. Is there representation from each high school?
President Davidson, members of the board, all 3 high schools are represented, yes. And I know I talked to Jennifer about this. Took volunteers first and then made sure to fill in any additional spots with teachers where there was underrepresentation from any of the 3 buildings.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Nope. Bart?
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes.
Dr. French?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. Policy consent, we do not have any. Recommended, thank you, Lori, I apologize. Thank you. Recommended action for old business, 10.01, the final reading recommendation to adopt and purchase secondary science resources. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments?
I did, since there were questions last time, I asked Jen to maybe give you
Okay.
an overview of what she gave you and see if there's any questions.
Okay.
Good evening. The resources that were shared with you on May 18th were part of our EdSite grant, which focused on evaluating digital content. As I spoke last time, for middle school science, each student will receive a workbook and an online license, and teachers will have teacher editions and those online resources. For physical science and biology, 40 books will be purchased for each teacher, so those would be considered a class set. Online licenses will be purchased for every student, and teachers will receive teacher editions and online licenses as well. All of those online licenses will last for 6 years. For our AP Sciences and IB Physics, or excuse me, AP and IB Physics, student texts with online licenses will be purchased to align with the enrollment, with each student receiving their own text and online license. I kind of alluded to this last time. It's kind of the economies of scale with the enrollment that we have in our AP and IB courses, which is going up. I think you know that too. And these 2 will be valid for 6 years, and they align with the AP and IB content standards. So I know I sent you some information a little over a week ago, so do you have additional questions?
I just will make a comment that it was really great to see them, and I had people say it was nice to see them at the library, the books, so that, the public had an opportunity to look through them if they wanted to as they walked through there. They thought that was very interesting. So that was great. The only thing I didn't get was the individual cost of the books. but-
Okay. And I don't have those
And that
numbers
wasn't
in
there.
front
I
of me.
thought
would
you were
have to
going to
do
mark each one
the
of them,
math.
but
Okay, I can
yeah.
certainly break that out for you.
Okay.
I could do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Bart, you want to?
Dr. French?
Yes.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. 10.02, the final reading recommendation to adopt and purchase logistics and health pathways resources. May I have a motion for this, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Jen, do you want to?
For the Logistics and Health Pathway courses, student texts will be purchased to align with the enrollment, with each student receiving his or her own text. The books are resources that are chosen, as we spoke last time, by the members of the respective departments at Columbus State Community College. This year, per our College Credit Plus agreement, College Credit Plus you'll be hearing about momentarily, Columbus State will be purchasing the resources and they will remain the property of Westerville City Schools. Other questions?
Questions? Okay, thank you. Bart?
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Byrd?
Yes.
Dr. French?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. Okay, recommended action, new business. 11.01, first reading for policy 2271, post-secondary enrollment programs. And I assume Ann Baldwin will be joining us? Hello. I'm here to share with you tonight that the policy for our College Credit Plus program. This policy is replacing previous PSEO, or post-secondary education option policy. Essentially, College Credit Plus makes college coursework more accessible to our students and is for grades 7 through 12. It used to be that PSEO was only available for our students in high school, but this policy opens it up to qualified middle school students. Access to College Credit Plus is based on a college or university's guidelines, so each college or university may be different. For instance, Columbus State is an open enrollment college for all students, and therefore for high school students or grade 7 through 12 students, it is open enrollment, and students who apply are accepted, and then they qualify for individual courses based on their placement scores or prerequisites. Otterbein University is different. Their process for their incoming freshmen is a selective process. They look at their application, a holistic application approach, and so our high school students go through the same process, and those students submit an application, letter of recommendation, their ACT or SAT scores, and a decision is based on their holistic application. This year, we've had 376 students submit intent forms, and these forms are due in April. It is a state requirement that if you want to participate in College Credit Plus the following school year, you submit an intent form. It does not require you to participate, but it gives the district an idea of how many students may be interested in participating the following year. Our students have an option through College Credit Plus to participate in college coursework on a college or university campus, and we also have opportunities within our high schools for students to participate in college courses. We offer 5 courses next year in our high schools that students can take for college credit. And they are taught by our high school faculty that are also approved adjuncts with Columbus State Community College. So before you is that policy. We are working with families right now because the process for College Credit Plus is a little different than PSEO. And as it's a new process, we're all learning, including the colleges and universities. We're working with families who've turned in intent forms and share with us that they're interested in the courses about the process. For instance, Columbus State, you have to apply as a Columbus State student, submit your placement scores, and then there's a registration consent form that you must turn in to participate. At a public college or university, there is no cost to the students or families, and textbooks are included. For a private university, there may be a cost depending on the agreement. And right now with Otterbein University, our students and families would pay $20 a credit hour. So for a typical 4 credit hour course, it would be $80. The textbooks are provided by the district. Do you have any questions?
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think it might be helpful. 2 things you said, Ann, that might be helpful. One is you talked about the numbers of intent this year. And, one question, any idea how that compares to previous under PSEO? And the second one, if you maybe talk a little bit about our communication this year to parents and students, and as you think about next year already, how we continue the communication piece with parents.
Last year we had 74 students participate in PSEO. Those 74 students took 146 different courses. 32 of those 74 students took Computer Concepts and Applications, which is a dual enrollment class that we offered in our high school this year. As far as communication with families, we did have, through the course registration process, information about College Credit Plus. We've built out our website to provide information, and now if you go to wcs.oh.org and click on the College Credit Plus button, there is information as well as some videos to help families understand the process. We did have a College Credit Plus evening. Typically there's a PSEO evening each winter that corresponds with the scheduling process, and we had that this year about College Credit Plus and invited institutions like Otterbein, Columbus State, Central Ohio Technical College, attended and shared information with our families. We also attended a middle school college and career readiness evening and gave information to parents at middle school level about College Credit Plus because this is very new for that grade level. And then for students who have submitted during the course registration process interest in taking one of the college classes, I did a mailing over spring break to again go through the process and then followed up as deadlines came about because May 1st was a deadline to apply to the colleges for next fall. We did a one-call, email, and phone message that went out to families as well. And so our school counselors, in addition to my office, have been working to reach out to families to help them through this new process as we're all learning. The colleges have been very accommodating as well. I know Columbus State, we had a student that didn't understand the email about submitting our ACT scores, and we were able to work with the college to get that taken care of. So I know we're trying to work as a team to make sure that every student that is interested and ready for college coursework has an opportunity. And if students miss fall deadlines, there's an opportunity for spring still. There's going to be additional deadlines in the fall, and I have that list of students that I'll be working with.
Oops. Any questions?
I was on the website looking at the video and didn't realize I had the volume up.
And we'll be making more of those as we go through too. I've had great feedback from parents too about what we should change and what we should add. And I look forward to continuing working with parents to making sure we have good information that's easily accessible. You do a good job with that. Very nice work.
And just a quick scan. I had looked it up before as well. I mean, everything that we're doing looks like it aligns directly with the current best practice standards as they've been promoted for College Credit Plus across the entire state. So it looks like intent periods are in line with the intent periods I see in other school districts, particularly in Central Ohio. I mean, it looks like we're pretty much standardizing to the state's expectations on this, right?
Mm-hmm. I work very closely with a group too around College Credit Plus, so we're all working together as districts to make sure that we're because there are lots of questions as it's a new program for the entire state.
Great.
The other piece that might be of interest is the funding piece, and whether or not it's capped. There isn't whatever students want to go, we're required to support. So there is no cap on our end to say we'll only have 100 seats. I think that's an important piece to remember. We've negotiated, actually, Central Ohio Superintendents Association did the negotiation, a boilerplate negotiation with Columbus State. We just collectively said, because the law says you will negotiate that with your local higher education institutions, and so collectively we did a piece with Columbus State power numbers. And so what you heard tonight was, we have the Columbus State deal. Part of what Jen presented was that they're buying the textbooks for those courses on their dime and then giving them back to us so that we have them for the future. Now, if enrollment increases, we'll have to account for that. But up front, this has been a really good partnership with some of our higher ed institutions to get this thing rolling and get it out. I think it's going to become an important piece of our guidance counselor curriculum that we're working on in terms of parents being aware through middle school. There's a big difference between knowing you have to take the Compass test as an entry test to Columbus State, which you could pick up in your junior or senior year, versus I want to take College Credit Plus as a junior, but I need ACT scores because I want to go to Otterbein, so I got to back up all that timing. And so there's a lot of moving parts to this, but Ann's leadership, her team, her work with guidance counselors and principals, I think will continue to improve on it. And whereas the state has some guidelines, those are minimalist to the state. We look forward to the opportunity. The last thing I remind you is it's been a while since we've looked at a school district report card, and it'll be a while till we see another one until the state tests are in. But don't forget that one of the metrics in there is prepare for success. And in prepare for success, one of the components is how many kids you got enrolled in AP, IB, and College Credit Plus. So that 300 number was of interest to me in terms of numbers of kids expressing intent versus, I think you said 70-something participated this last year?
74.
74 participated this year, took 100 and some odd classes. 300 kids turned in intent this year. That was 300 kids.
Yes.
How many were middle school? Did we have much interest there?
We had a lot of interest from middle school. We had one intent form turned in from middle school. There's still a lot of conversation around the state about that. And you have to make sure that the student is ready for that college content. And so while there's an exciting opportunity to get college credit, we also want to make sure that students are prepared and have the content, background, and knowledge and skills to be successful in those classes, because it is a true college course. It's not a pretend college course. It's the same course that's taking place on the college campus too. So we want to make sure that students are ready, and some are for certain content areas, and this gives students who are ready an opportunity. We just want to make sure that they are ready for it.
And we do have some, I'm sorry, we do have some students, I'm sure, that are ready. I mean, we just recognized tonight some middle school example of that. I think my head kind of swims with some of this because I want to wrap my brain around it, because I just think it's really just unbelievably cool opportunity. And I agree with Dr. Kellogg that if we can just kind of continue to encourage those numbers for the students that want to and can and qualify and so on, just encourage that opportunity. My comment, just quickly, is really almost an aggregate comment. The last two presentations, from Jen's to yours, continues to remind me that this district has so much good stuff that, Dr. Kellogg, you picked it up on your first comment, that how are we getting the word out about all of this good stuff? He didn't use the word stuff because he's got a doctorate, but how do we get all of this information out about all of these incredible opportunities? I mean, I read through this secondary science curriculum. This is really exciting material. College preparedness before you're there. The opportunity to do that now on a pretty good cost per credit hour. That's just wonderful, and I just want to encourage and challenge you all that are spearheading this. Just keep getting the word out, and anybody who ever watches these things on television, please help us get the word out about the tremendous opportunities that we are laying before the students and the community. So thank you for really good work.
After all that wonderful stuff, I have a couple of nuts and bolts questions.
Okay.
What happens to the fees paid by the district when the student either withdraws or fails?
They will be required to pay that back to the
Okay.
district.
Do we have, are we going to make sure that that is put into the guidelines?
Yes. And that's currently something we do with PSEO too, if a student fails a
Just
course.
want to make sure we've got it there and
Yes.
that is continuing for. I knew we did it with PSEO. I wasn't sure if we were continuing to do that because it is a significant financial investment by the district. And while I think it's a great idea for a lot of kids, I think it's a bad idea for a bunch more because they're not socially, emotionally, or intellectually ready to, for instance, descend on Ohio State. It sometimes is not in the best interest of students, even though for many it is. You know, we do have students who may not be aware of the differences between the college-university work and high school work, which is appropriate developmentally. So I'm wondering, I do have a point for saying that, as I think about our student numbers going up for participation for college credit, as they will do and as they should do, have we considered, are we developing some sort of a modified first-year experience, if you will? You know, when students go to college or university, there is a seminar or first-year experience to help them cross over that bridge. And as I think about our kids, I'm wondering what we do on an ongoing basis to ensure their continual emotional development and emotional readiness for the level of work that they'll be taking, especially as they move from, 101 up to 300 level courses and so forth.
So, career advising and advising in general is a topic that we are discussing, and how do we best partner with the colleges and universities to look at their academic advisors to make sure that our students have access to that and that our advising helps them make those good decisions. And then as we work with the college faculty as far as preparing our students for those classes too, there's some opportunities there to make sure that what we're doing in high school aligns with that preparation too, so that they're ready. So that's something we're developing and continuing to talk about how we're going to best do that for our students.
Good. I think that's really important, especially when I think about some of the research that I've seen around students who enter too soon, or students who are first-generation college in their family and do not necessarily have the background understanding of what's coming. If they end up having a negative experience in post-secondary enrollment activities, oftentimes that keeps them from matriculating or from being retained when they do move on in. And I want to make sure that as our kids move into that they are prepared and supported so that that doesn't happen to them. So as I say, I don't want to suggest that I don't think kids should be involved. I do, but I think that like so many other decisions we need to make academically for our children, we have to make sure that the timing is right and so forth. One more nuts and bolts question. You mentioned this will be on the report card, which we all know about. Do the withdrawals or failures impact the report card? Do you know how that's going to be calculated?
No, I don't. I think it's just a pure number of participation, much like IB and AP. I don't know what they'll do with students who withdraw. I guess it'll depend on how when the state collects the data. Is it at the front end when they enroll or at the end when they have grades?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the collection is. The other thing I'd say to your comments, Dr. Nestor Baker, and I agree, is we have to remember we have a wide range of college readiness opportunities for kids when you throw in IB and AP. And then even within the College Credit Plus program, there's everything from college courses that our teachers are teaching to our kids in our buildings, which is a different environment than a kid taking a class at Otterbein or Ohio State, even going down to Columbus State. So in that array of opportunities, what I would hope parents and students would consider is all those factors you've talked about, sit down with our guidance counselors, and consider all the options that fit, because they're not all the same thing. Right? A course from Columbus State that our teachers teach in our building is not the same as a calculus level 3 course, if such a thing exists, because I wouldn't have been allowed in it, at Ohio State. And the age of the student becomes a factor in all those other pieces. What we want is multiple opportunities and multiple levels for kids for young people to start to understand what those are. The other piece is the college piece keeps getting in here, but when you throw Columbus State into this as a player, you also have the associate's degree and straight-to-work opportunity. So literally, under College Credit Plus, and it's happening in Ohio, we could see students graduating from our high schools with their associate's degree walking straight into a well-paying job, still maintaining the opportunity to then move into a four-year traditional college with multiple credits underneath their belt, limiting how much more college they have to do, and everything in between. And it's that kind of spectrum of opportunities that is going to be the hardest to explain to people across that spectrum, because we don't want anybody pigeonholed to a certain spot. But there's financial advantage to this. There's preparedness advantage to this. What we need to do, it gives us an opportunity to help kids take that aspiration and put in a work plan to get there, to say, oh, I can actually see that. It's not just if I work hard and get good grades, I may have some kind of opportunity. It is, oh, if I do what I'm supposed to do and I work hard, the opportunities, I'm building it day by day, course by course, year by year, as I come through my schooling experience in Westerville. And that is what I think is the most important piece of this, is how do you actualize aspirations? And that's what I want to see us happen.
I think that's really exciting, and it is the hardest thing to explain this plethora of opportunity that now exists for kids, and to find the right fit and the right pathway that will eventually take them where they want to go. Too often, with a lot of the coverage that's occurred around the state and so forth through the media of College Credit Plus, it's basically just thrown at parents as free tuition, free tuition, free tuition. And free tuition is not everything. There are things that are much more important that will lead to other opportunities that far surpass that free tuition later. So by all means, participate in College Credit Plus if that's right, in AP if that's right, if IB if that's right, in the identification and pursuit of an associate's degree when you are a sophomore, begin that, that's right. But oh, good luck on finding a great way to make that a manageable explanation, and also for developing the proper student supports as we go along. It's good stuff.
We're excited. Our team's very excited.